Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Jose Aldo's retirement is announced and his release from his UFC contract. Per MMA Fighting, Aldo's team reached an agreement that would allow him to be let go, even having one fight left on his current deal, so he can pursue other ventures in combat sports. Jose also welcomed his new baby boy just hours after this announcement. While Conor McGregor is in the process of filming for the remake of Roadhouse, he posts new video on Instagram showing off his physique. Here's the clip. Then Conor proceeds to troll the MMA community with an audio clip on Twitter.
The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter has ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter has ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter has ever laid eyes on. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. That's me, guys. The Notorious.
In a recent interview, George St. Pierre talks about the two fights he missed out on that just never came together.
I always wanted to be known as the best and be the best, and there's two fights that never materialized that could have been made, but for certain reason did not materialize. The first one was against Anderson Silva, and the other one was against Khabib, but for certain reason it did not happen. You need the two fighter and the promoter to make a fight happen. You know what I mean? Even if the two fighter wants, but the promoter doesn't make it happen, it's not gonna happen. There is terms. Each fighters bring their terms, that what they want, and then they negotiate, and then it's up to the promoter to make that happen. And it did not happen for these two guys.
Who do you think would have won between GSP versus Anderson Silva or Khabib in their prime? Let us know in the comments below. On the Anakin Florian podcast, Dean Thomas gives his thoughts on who should be next for Khamzat Chimaev and gives credit to Nate Diaz for his UFC accomplishments. Here's the clip.
But I would give him, I think Aaron was right. I think you give him the winner of Bilal and Sean Brady. You give him an opportunity to make the weight. But obviously the UFC is going to have to do I don't want to say a better job, but maybe have somebody on it, throughout camp to monitor that. But you do give him another chance.
Yeah. He did come in lighter this time around relative to his previous fight, but I guess that's neither here nor there, and I'm sure when I say that, a lot of people that falls on deaf ears. So we were trying to put Nate Diaz's career into context on the post-fight show and also here. Pretty impressive, man. Like, if you're a prize fighter trying to make money, I know he didn't realize a world title. He did get a chance to fight for it, about 10 years ago, but as far as career success in the UFC, there aren't many who've done it better than Nate Diaz. What do you think about all that?
I love it. I love when a fighter can come in and have the type of career that he's had. Like, if a fighter comes in and has a career for over 5 years, I'm like, all right, man, you did good, because it's a hard game to do. It's a hard lifestyle. It's very difficult. And for him to come in and not only come in and have the career that he's had, but to go out the way he's had, no one has went out as beautifully as he has, as on his own terms as he has. The only other person I could think of is when Chris Lytle beat Dan Hardy and went out there. But that pales in comparison to the way Nate went out, especially when they were intentionally trying to stack the odds against him. And he defeated the odds and still goes out on his own terms.
Right. And he's 1-0 against Khamzat Chimaev, right? Because Chimaev couldn't make it to the fight.
Exactly. Yeah, he's 1-0. Well, that's what Nate Diaz fans would say anyway.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
Do you think we see Nate Diaz back in the UFC, or do you think he's going to kind of go out and do his own thing? He says he's halfway there. He's still got a lot more to give. I don't know how many more fights he has or wants to do, but what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think so, man. He's starting his own promotion. I apparently which is probably not going to do too well after a while. You know what I mean? You think Nate Diaz had, like, you talk about discipline. You think he has the discipline to really like put a show together? I mean, I'm trying not to hate, but I just, it's going to be tough.
It's tough.
You know
It's tough.
how hard it is to throw shows. But I think Nate lives a good life, man. I think he gets done with this and just lives a good life. He'll probably box Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And you can quote me on this. I have a feeling that he's going to step in for Anderson Silva on the 29th.
Wow.
So that's my prediction. And I think he fights Jake Paul, and then I think he just rides out into the sunset, showing up at shows and smoking a blunt and just being a fan favorite, being a good dude.
In a recent interview, Francis Ngannou says he hasn't received word on the status of his contract, and having one fight left, here's what he had to say on what's next.
What's your contract status right now?
My contract status right now is still the same. I haven't received any offer. So, it's still the same. We haven't really getting work into. I hope in the next 3 months, 2 to 3 months, we get to deal with that, to solve that.
Has that been surprising to you, considering they know the rehab timetable, they know what's going on and when you're going to be back, that more hasn't been going on since then? Or is that what you expected?
No, it's not surprise to me. I think we are not in the rush. I'm not in the rush either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going anywhere, so I'm not rushing. At the end of the day, we have a whole time.
Ngannou was then asked about the status of his contract and what his expectations are.
Are you still looking to make a splash in boxing, be it Tyson Fury or someone else? Is that still very much on your mind as you're getting ready, as you're trying to get back into shape?
Absolutely. However this ends up, that has to be part of it.
On the Believe You Me podcast, Michael Bisping discusses why Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa makes the most sense at 185. Here's the clip.
Khamzat and Paulo Costa. I mean, that would be because you're saying, put him in for a title fight. That's too soon. But he does have 6 wins in a row now. 5 of them just demolishing his opponents. Didn't get hit again against Kevin Holland, but he was talking a lot to Paulo Costa last week. So that would be a good fight.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all, actually. Now I'm way more excited for that fight. I would like that fight so much more than Whitaker versus Costa.
Yeah, Paulo Costa, Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, that gets my juices flowing. I like that.
What do you guys think? With all the past beef between Costa and Chimaev, would this be the perfect fight at 185? Let us know in the comments below. After Joe Pfeifer's win last weekend at UFC Vegas 60, he defends Dana White and talks about how Dana gave him money to live for a year leading up to him competing on the Contender Series.
Yeah, I asked Sean Shelby in the cage. I was like, "Hey, let me talk to my boss," and he was kind of like, he's like, "I'll do it." And I told him, I need to talk to him because I need to thank him because he gave me a home for a year. He gave me money on the side of Contender, and really that secured me being able to have a place to live for the next year. On the house of Dana. So I think the guy gets a lot for not being a good dude and or whatever that people say sometimes, but as far as and I don't know any of the other stories, but as far as how he's treated me gracefully, and he's my boss, and I want to like him, I want to respect him, and I have all the respect in the world for him. So to me, it means something to go and shake my boss's hand after I go and I work for him.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.